Welcome back to the Bryan Devore Connection. I'm your host, Bryan Devore. One of the most important aspects of helping a senior is helping them decide where they're going to live in the next chapter of their lives. But wouldn't it be great if there was a service that could help seniors find the right place? Well, there actually is. It's called the placement profession. And here to talk to us about what she does in helping clients with her company is Amanda Gast, and she is with Oasis Senior Advisors. Amanda, thank you for coming today.
Thank you for the invitation.
My pleasure. So, placement.
Yes.
People hear it a lot kind of thrown around. What is it?
So senior placement is typically a free service to seniors and their families to help them find independent living, assisted living, memory care, skilled nursing, or other resources.
Got it. Okay. Mm-hmm. And so it's like people trying to do it on their own. I sort of compare it to a real estate agent. When you're looking to buy a home, are you going to try to do it yourself and figure out what your finances look like and everything else, or are you going to have a professional kind of guide you? Similar to what you guys do.
Absolutely, and it's a very nuanced process. There's a lot of factors involved, especially when care changes, right? Your care needs change, and there's over 1,000 communities in San Diego alone.
Wow.
So it's hard to narrow that down.
That can be very overwhelming. Mm-hmm. So how did you decide to get into this profession?
Well, my husband and I sort of stumbled on a franchise broker that introduced us to Oasis Senior Advisors, which we fell in love with this company for their values and the family atmosphere they have. And I had no idea that senior placement was even a career field before that.
Yeah. It's one of those things where people don't know what they don't know until they need it, right?
Yes.
And, it's sort of like going through a divorce. You don't know any divorce attorneys until you need one. Well, unless you're a senior or you have a loved one who's a senior, you're not even going to know what placement's all about.
Absolutely.
So people probably try to do it on their own without knowing about it. So let's do a little bit of a deeper dive into how you do help families.
Perfect. So Oasis Senior Advisors offers a concierge-style approach to helping seniors. Our first step is to do a free assessment with them. The whole process is free. But we do a free assessment just to understand their needs, their budget, their location, their interests, things like that. Oftentimes, the families come to us in crisis, so it can be a very fast process that we need to help them. Secondly, we will enter their information into our proprietary software where we can match them to communities that best meet their needs. Oftentimes there can still be a lot of communities that will match, so we narrow that down to a handful so it's not overwhelming, and that's based on our personal knowledge of the communities, the care involved, and a number of other topics. After that, we will personally tour with the clients, similar to a real estate broker. And so when that process kind of comes to a conclusion, hopefully they have made a decision. If not, we drill it down and give them some more options.
Got it. So let's kind of take a look at some pieces of that.
Sure.
There are some companies out there that people can go online and they can look for a senior community or have help looking for a senior community.
Yep.
And it's sort of like a shotgun approach.
Absolutely.
Where it's like, here's a list of places, good luck.
Yeah.
They don't tour you. And the list of communities may not be appropriate for that senior, for their level of care, because they haven't taken the time to do 100%. An assessment on what their needs are, what their finances look like, et cetera. But this is very different.
Absolutely. And a lot of times people don't realize those online sites will oftentimes take your contact information and shoot that out to the communities who will then be contacting you. So that in itself can be overwhelming. And those companies do provide good information. They're successful companies, but our approach is definitely different. It's much more personal, much more confidential, and we do value that real personalized approach.
I could see if I was a senior and I was suddenly getting calls from all these communities, I might be paralyzed by all that information and just say, you know what, forget it.
Forget it.
I'm not going to even make a move, which may not be the right choice for them.
And that's not great for the communities either.
Right, for gives them a bad reputation, et cetera.
Yeah.
So that makes sense. So you help seniors, obviously, but you're also helping their loved ones and their children. The adult children are usually involved.
Yes.
What percentage would you say that they're involved?
Oh, 85, 90%.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Because they either want to be a part of the process or they may need to be part of the process.
It might just fall in their lap. And like I said, oftentimes people come to us in crisis. Mom broke a hip, dad had a stroke. There's all kinds of issues involved that adult children do not anticipate.
Right.
So it's one of those things that they do need a lot of help oftentimes.
Right. And so one of the things that I talked about was the education for the adult children. for themselves helping their seniors,
Yeah.
but also for themselves too.
Exactly. There's a very big lack of education on what's coming down the road and how to pay for it and what the nuances are. We all know that we should plan for estate planning, what to do with our assets after we die, but we don't often plan for what is going to happen to us our last 5, 10, 15 years of life, and then to extrapolate that, what's going to happen to our parents. We're just not thinking about that at all, and nobody's really talking about it.
Yeah, I'm dealing with that more and more with my friends who are talking about their parents. Mom fell and broke a hip. I don't know what to do. Never gone down this road before. Or mom and dad have been talking about, it's time to downsize, but I don't know what options are available for them. So that seems to be coming up a lot with the adult children.
Yes.
When in the process would you recommend people call you? When I say the process, meaning usually it's something happens, an event happens, but should they even call you before an event happens?
Yes. I highly recommend knowing your options ahead of time, thinking about it ahead of time. Your options are going to be vastly different if you are still healthy, you're still active, or your parent is healthy and active. Then your options are only constrained by budget or location or your personal preferences. But once you have an incident, maybe a cognitive impairment or a physical problem, then your options really dwindle and it makes things much more difficult.
Yeah, I'll bet. And like you said, there are tons of different options out there. There's independent living, assisted living, memory care, boarding care, smaller. I can't imagine trying to navigate all of that myself. I've heard of situations where people have tried it themselves and they've helped their parents and they've moved 2-3 times.
Yeah. That's the last thing you want to do with your senior parent, is to move them.
Right.
Yeah.
So the best way to do it is to get a professional who can help them from beginning to end.
Absolutely. And it's a free service. Why wouldn't you?
Yeah, exactly. So Amanda's information is on screen. You can give her a call. You can email her. You can look at her website. It'll tell you all about her background, and her services as well. Amanda, thank you for coming on and sharing about what placement is and why you have a heart to help seniors.
Absolutely. Happy to be here.
Great.
Thank you.